of some people that I know. So thank you all for showing up and spending your Saturday with us. I know those of you that are here in the Omaha, Nebraska, Iowa area, we have ice. So it's kind of a good thing to be able to be inside and stay in and stay warm and do something like this. So I'm going to share my screen here with you. Oh, no, I didn't do that again. Hold on. We got to get all the settings right now. Oh, we had it working, Betsy, or Emily and I had it working. Sorry, technology. Oh goodness. Okay, sorry everyone. I promise we did practice this.
And while Jeannie's getting that set up, I also would like to point out, if you've seen it in the email or on the website, we are doing a book giveaway today. So 6 of you will be receiving books. So we will do a random draw and we will contact you after the event.
Okay, I found the setting I need. Now I just have to find my share screen again. I think I found it. Sorry. Oh, everybody, I'm so sorry. Well, I said I found it and then I can't find it now. It really was there. Oh my goodness. Well, I might just have to go with it without my notes. So I apologize because at least you can see my PowerPoint there. Except now I need to show you all of my screen, don't I? Okay. We're just going to go with the basic view and show you all my screen. Okay, can everybody see that?
Yes.
Okay, oops. Go back to the beginning. All right, so I'm going to go without my notes. So I'm going to, but I should be good. So, all right, I apologize for all that technology issues. And so as Emily said, we're going to talk about the power of lifestyle for cancer prevention and survivorship. Our objectives are to explore the power of lifestyle for cancer prevention and survivorship, to recognize cancer-fighting foods, and to identify some simple lifestyle changes to enhance cancer prevention and survivorship. Here's a disclaimer. The information in this presentation is provided for general information and educational purposes only, and it is not meant to be a substitute for medical or dietetic advice. First, we're going to start with a few cancer statistics. So in 2024, the estimations were that there would be a little over 2 million new cancer cases. And when they do these estimations, that does not include basal cell and squamous cell skin cancers or the non-invasive like carcinoma in situ are not, except for bladder but like breast cancer, DCIS is not included in these figures. And there will be over 600,000 deaths from cancer. 42% of men and 40% of women will develop cancer sometime during their lifetime. However, we do have some power within us to change some of these statistics. Approximately half of the most common cancers, according to the American Institute of Cancer Research, could be prevented. There's approximately 42% of the cancer cases are related to lifestyle factors, and 45% are related to cancer deaths. Now, that being said, I know there are a lot of survivors here, me being one of them, and please know that this information, I don't say this or give you this information to have you blame or shame yourselves. Please don't do that. Please don't think about, oh, what did I do? Or did I do something to cause my cancer? This information, we can't go back, but we can go forward. And so this information hopefully is to empower you to know that, there are so many things out of our control that are risks for us. But these are some of the lifestyle things, or some of the things that we can control. So I hope that this information is empowering to you, to know that you might be able to implement some of these things, and implementing them is, I'm not saying that it's going to prevent someone from having cancer or prevent us from having a recurrence, but it's reducing our risks. So I hope that it empowers you. So some of the lifestyle factors that are related to cancer are smoking and secondhand smoke, excess body weight, alcohol intake, physical inactivity, high consumption of red and processed meats, and low consumption of fruits and vegetables, dietary fiber, and dietary calcium. And we're just going to go through a couple studies. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on these, but just a couple. And I don't have all of my notes under there. But this EPIC study looked at 25,000 men and women. And what they were looking at was, for those people who followed these 4 lifestyle factors of never smoking, having a BMI of less than 30, physical activity of 3.5 hours a week, and healthy diet. And when they talked about a healthy diet, it was a diet high in fruits, vegetables, whole grains. And what they found in this study was that the people that followed these 4 things versus not following had a 78% decrease in chronic disease, 93% decrease in type 2 diabetes, 81% decrease in myocardial infarction, and a 50% decrease in stroke, and a 36% decrease in cancer, which is the thing that I like to look at. And then this study was a study that looked at lifestyle factors on life expectancy, or premature death. And what they found were, they called these risk reducing or low risk factors, were the never smoked, not overweight, physical activity of 30 minutes a day, not drinking in excess, and then a healthy diet. And what they found that were the people who followed, and this was they looked at there were a couple databases that they looked at, and it was like an average of 34 years follow-up with these 2 databases, and it was over 100,000. It was like 123,000 people, and they looked at these data is for the people that followed those 5 things versus in their at middle life and then mid-age, and then versus people who did not do them. And so what they found was there was a 74% decrease in all causes of mortality, 82% decrease in cardiovascular disease, 65% decrease in cancer. And then the people that were following these 5 lifestyle factors, their projected life expectancy from age 50 was, women had 14 years longer. So meaning that the women that followed these factors at or these habits at age 50 had a life expectancy of 14 more years longer than those who did not, and men 22 or 12.2 years longer than those who did not. All right, we're done with the studies. Again, I want to put this note in here again. Please do not blame or shame yourself or ask what you did to cause your cancer. There's so many risk factors out of our control. Can't go back, but we can move forward, create our best lives, and live as healthy as we can to increase our chances of healthy survival. So what can we do to decrease our risks? So the American Institute of Cancer Research and the World Cancer Research Fund, they put out 10 recommendations for diet and exercise. And the Continuous Update Project it's a data, so they look at all of the research related to diet and exercise, and they make these recommendations based on the research that has strong evidence related to cancer. So their 10 recommendations are having healthy weight, being physically active, eating whole grains, veggies, fruits, and beans, limiting fast food. And we're going to go into each one of these a little bit deeper. So feel free to take pictures if you want, but it also, if either the World Cancer Research Fund.org, you can go to find these, and then also the American Institute of Cancer, AICR.org. Limit red and processed meat, limit sugar sweetened drinks, limit alcohol consumption. Don't use supplements to prevent cancer. And then if you're at the age to having babies, breastfeed your baby if you can. And then after a diagnosis, to also follow these recommendations if you can. So looking at maintaining a healthy weight, we're not going to dwell on this one because the recommendations like 2 through 7 all fall into this, help us maintain a healthy weight. So what they say with the healthy weight is keep your body, I have a typo there, keep your body within a healthy weight and avoid weight gain in adult life. Recommendation number 2, be physically active as part of everyday life. Walk more, sit less. So their goals with this is to be at least moderately physically active and to follow or exceed the national guidelines, and then limit sedentary habits. And the national guidelines, you might ask, are what are they? So that they are having moderate intensity cardiovascular exercise for 150 to 300 minutes a week, or vigorous intensity of 75 to 150 minutes a week. And then also to include strength training 2 times per week. And when we talk about strength training, we want to do 8 to 10 training exercises with 8 to 12 reps of each, basically working the various body parts. And sometimes people say, what should I do for cardiovascular? And it's whatever you like and you can maintain. It can be walking, it can be dancing, it can be going to exercise classes, it can be going to a gym. And for cardiovascular, what moderate intensity, to know if you're working at moderate intensity, your heart rate would be kind of up, you'd be breathing heavier, but you should be able to talk. You should be able to carry on a conversation, but not sing necessarily. And that's kind of how you can know if it's moderate intensity. And I also tell people, like, if you like exercise classes and you haven't, or you want to try an exercise class and you go to one and you don't like it, don't give up, because everyone's a little bit different and the environment's a little bit different. And so one of the examples I like to share is I love exercise classes. I've done aerobics most of my life. And a while back, I joined a Zumba class at our community college here, and they were like 7-week sessions. And so I joined it, and I did a few different, like 3 or 4 different sessions, I think. And I was like, I don't think the instructor even knows my name. And the people in the class were like, I got to know a couple of the ladies that I stood around, but not everyone else. And it was just like, okay. And then I later, then I tried a jazzercise class, and I walked in and I knew 3 people right away, and everybody is like, "Oh," they welcomed me and they're all friendly, and I'm like, "Oh, this is what I like," because I'm one of those people that like that social part. But there's people that want to just go in and exercise and leave and not socialize. So I just encourage you to try things until you find the one that you like or the environment that you like and makes you feel at home. If you're going to do, oh, there's someone in the waiting room. If you're going to do like a gym or a personal trainer, I just encourage you to check out, like ask the trainers what kind of population they typically work with, because again, you want someone who's used to working with people in your age range, or for us, people who've had cancer. So there are cancer exercise trained people. And it shouldn't always be that no pain, no gain, and come on, you can give me 10 more, you can give me 25 more. It shouldn't be like that. So again, just find a trainer that feels right to you. All right, so here are a couple things to think about if you're currently going through cancer. First, talk to your oncologist. With aerobic exercise frequency, you can do the cardiovascular most days of the week. Intensity, again, should be moderate. You should be able to talk 20 to 60 minutes if you can, and you can build up to that. It doesn't have to be all in one bout. If you haven't been able to do anything, you can do 5 minutes and do 5 minutes several times a day. You could do 10 minutes. If it's walking to your mailbox and coming back, and then you build more on the next day, that's all great. Do what you can. Resistance training, again, 2 to 3 days a week, rest between. Intensity, moderate, time 1 to 3 sets. Types, you could do machines, free weights, bands, and then flexibility is important for range of motion. So stretching is important, like 10 minutes, 3 to 4 times a week. And here's some cautions. Rest as you need to. If you're inactive now, start slow. Don't exercise if you have a fever, risk of bleeding, anemia, abnormal blood counts, extreme fatigue, or extreme pain. If you've had radiation or going through radiation, sweat might irritate your skin. So it's recommended to wear like moisture wicking clothes. And then if you've got lymphedema, again, talk to your oncologist or your lymphedema specialist, but they usually recommend wearing your compression garment. And then for resistance training, some stiffness and soreness is normal, but if it's extreme, be sure you talk to someone about that. Don't hold your breath when you're doing resistance training. May have limited strength and range of motion after surgeries. And then I wanted to make a note too about weight training and breast cancer upper body lymphedema. Again, wear your compression sleeves, and then it's important to have proper form, start low and progress slowly with weights. It is typically it's okay to do weight training, but start slow and progress and watch your response to that. And it's also very good if you're just starting out, if you can find a cancer exercise specialist. That's a good thing to help you. Okay, recommendation number 3 is eat a diet rich in whole grains, vegetables, fruits, and beans. And so they say make whole grains, vegetables, fruits, and pulses or legumes such as beans and lentils a major part of your usual diet. The goals are to get 30 grams of fiber per day from food sources. And for at most meals to include whole grains, non-starchy vegetables, fruits, legumes, beans or lentils. And another goal is to have a diet high in all types of plant foods, including at least 5 servings of a variety. I'm gonna highlight that variety there of non-starchy vegetables and fruits daily. And then if they say that if you eat starchy roots or tubers regularly, to eat also include non-starchy vegetables, fruits, and legumes regularly. We'll go into these a little bit deeper here. Fiber, so at least 30 grams a day Did you know that less than 3% of Americans meet the recommendations for fiber? Our average American intake of fiber is 18 grams a day, and the recommendation is at least 30 grams. And so the American Institute of Cancer Research, they say 30 grams a day from food sources. Women also 25 grams a day with greater benefit if you eat more than 40 grams a day. Men, 38 grams a day with greater benefits if you eat more than 45 grams a day. And then there's strong evidence for colon cancer that for every gram or 10 grams of fiber can reduce the risk of colon cancer by 7%. And an important note is fiber is only found in plants. So how do you get this fiber? Well, here's this is from the Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine. These are some examples of great ways to get fiber. So like split peas, a half a cup is 8.1 grams. Lentils, beans, chickpeas, those are all really great sources. Those are your legumes. Vegetables that are great sources of fiber, sweet potatoes, broccoli, carrots, Brussels sprouts, fruit, raspberries, blackberries, pear, apples, whole grains, some of your whole wheat pastas, barley, quinoa, oatmeal. And then whole grains, most of the meals. So almost 100% of Americans fail to meet this recommendation. So although 60% meet recommendations for total grains, over 90% of the people are consuming those grains from refined grains, like white flour, white bread, white rice. And so what do we mean by whole grain? It should say whole grain on the label. And here's some ideas. Over on the right, what is a serving of a whole grain? One slice is 100% whole grain bread, half a cup cooked brown rice, 3 cups of popped popcorn, or a 6-inch corn tortilla. And whole grains can help lower cancer risk by reducing inflammation, helping prevent insulin resistance, and increasing the speed of time that carcinogens are in our gut. And then again, there's strong evidence for colon cancer that 3 servings can reduce the risk of colon cancer by 17%. All right, moving on to the next goal, variety of fruits and vegetables. And again, that was diet high in all types of plant foods, including at least 5 servings of a variety of non-starchy vegetables or fruit daily. So did you know that the US population is mostly failing to meet the recommendations for consumption of fruit and vegetables? So 90% of our population fails to meet the recommendation of eating 3 servings of vegetables a day, and 80% of our population fails to meet the recommendation of just 2 servings per day. And it's only 5 total of fruits and vegetables here with this, and we really should be getting more like 10 to 13 servings. And why should we eat a variety? Well, Dr. Will Boltzowitz, who's a GI doc, he's one of our well-known people in lifestyle medicine. He says for optimal gut health that we should consume 30 different plants each week. And here's some, and the Nutrition Rainbow is a Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine, but some of the reasons that we should eat these is like our red fruits and vegetables. There's lycopene that reduces breast and prostate cancer risk. The orange foods or the beta carotene says fights cancer, reduces inflammation. Vitamin C and flavonoids inhibit tumor cell growth. Folate in our green foods builds healthy cells and also has calcium that strengthens our bones, muscles, and heart. One of the things on calcium that I wanted to point out is that, and I learned this when I was studying for my lifestyle medicine, is that like kale is one of the best forms of calcium. We actually absorb 40 to 60% of the calcium from kale, which is more than what we absorb from dairy. some of the other cruciferous vegetables include, I think it's called indoles and lutein. I may be saying those incorrectly, which eliminate excess estrogen and carcinogens. The anthocyanins in our purple foods like dark grapes destroy free radicals, reduce inflammation. The resveratrol in the like raspberries or the more pinkish red may decrease estrogen production. And then our whole grains, our fiber include fiber, which boosts digestion and weight loss and remove carcinogens. And also our fiber is also in all of the, pretty much all of the fruits and vegetables as well. This is, and I'm not going to go through all of this, but these are just some of the examples of where it said if you to eat a variety of non-starchy vegetables, but they also recommend if you eat starchy vegetables to also include the non-starchy vegetables. So these are just some ideas of what's starchy, what's non-starchy. Starchy vegetables are high in antioxidants, vitamins, and minerals, and non-starchy vegetables are higher in fiber and lower in sugar. But they're all good for us, and we should eat a variety of all of these. And then this is the list. I love this list. And if it's the American Institute of Cancer Research. And so if you go on their website, they've got this list called Cancer Fighting Foods, and you can actually click on each food and it will pop up more information. So they say we should eat a diet filled with a variety of these foods to help reduce our risk of cancer. So as you can see, there's a ton on here. These are all plant-based foods. I wanted to point out there's also coffee on here. That some of the research shows that coffee is a cancer-fighting food. And so again, I won't go through all of these, but this is a great list. If you go to that website, it's very interactive. Okay, and then they say that recommendation number 4, limit consumption of fast foods and other processed foods high in fat, starches, and sugars. So these would, and that this is because it helps control calorie intake and helps us maintain a healthy weight. And so this including fast foods, pre-prepared dishes, snacks, bakery foods, desserts, candy, all of those processed foods. And then also recommendation number 5, limit consumption of red and processed meat. So they say to eat no more than moderate amounts of red meat, which I'll tell you what that is here in a second, such as beef, pork, and lamb, and eat little, if any, processed meat. And so recommendation or examples of processed meat: ham, bacon, hot dogs, salamis, deli meats. And so they say that if you do eat red meat, to limit it to no more than 3 portions or 12 to 18 ounces per week. And then processed meats, they can say consume very little, if any, processed meats. And again, this is based on strong evidence. And I wanted to just give a little bit more research on red meats. So again, the American Institute of Cancer Research, they have probable evidence related to colon cancer with red meat. And they also say there's limited suggestive evidence related to lung, pancreatic, and nasopharyngeal cancers. And then the International Agency for Research on Cancer, that's within the World Health Organization. So these are the ones where you hear, they say that that's a group 1 carcinogen or a group 2 carcinogen. And so the red meat is classed as a group 2 carcinogen, which means that there's it's probably carcinogenic to humans based on the research, and that's in the relation to colorectal cancer. And then this was a study by the National Institutes of Health and AARP that was done with over 194,000 postmenopausal women, followed up for 9.4 years, and they found a 25% increase in risk of breast cancer. And then processed meats are preserved. They're preserved by smoking, salting, curing, adding preservatives. Examples again, bacon, ham, salami, hot dogs, deli meat, sausages. And the American Institute of Cancer Research says that even small amounts of processed meats eaten regularly can increase cancer risk. And the World Health Organization, they classify this as a group 1 carcinogen. And so the group 1 carcinogen is very similar to what the American Institute of Cancer Research says, is where there's high evidence that it is related to cancer. So, oh, good. Yes. So the more research here is, again, American Institute of Cancer Research shows strong evidence of processed meats related to colorectal cancer. Limited, but there is evidence related to lung, pancreatic, stomach, esophageal, and nasopharyngeal cancers. And then, like I mentioned, the World Cancer Organization classes it as a group 1 carcinogen, which those are the strongest ones. And then the NIH AARP study again, what they found with postmenopausal women and processed meats is a 25% or 27%, excuse me, increased risk of breast cancer. And then there was another systematic review and meta-analysis that found that the higher consumption of processed meats had a higher risk of breast cancer. So the question that always comes up when if people say, okay, if I don't eat meat, then where do I get my protein? Well, here are some ideas. Plants actually have a lot of protein in them. And this is showing, so this is the Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine, and they say that we need like 0.36 to multiply our weight by 0.36 to calculate how many grams of protein that we would need in a day. And here are some examples for like a 140-pound person, how they can get the 50 grams of protein each day. These are just some different sample meals. So breakfast, oatmeal, fruit, almonds, chia seeds, lunch, vegetable hummus sandwich, dinner, brown rice, almond and chickpea bowl. And these are just some different examples, but there are a lot of ways that all plants actually, I think all plants contain at least a little bit of protein. So if you eat a wide variety of plants, whole grains, legumes, legumes are high in protein. You can get your protein. Okay, recommendation number 6 is limiting consumption of sugar sweetened drinks. And they recommend to drink mostly water and then to not consume the sugar sweetened drinks. Recommendation number 7, limit alcohol consumption. And for cancer prevention, it's best not to drink alcohol. And I liked this infographic here where they actually showed the increase that alcoholic beverages increase the risk for 6 different types of cancer. So mouth, pharynx and larynx cancer, esophageal, breast cancer, liver cancer, stomach cancer, and colorectal cancer. And they say if people do drink, to limit to 2 drinks for men and 1 drink for women per day. But again, they recommend not drinking. And there's actually the really no amount of alcohol is safe. So. Okay, and then recommendation number 8, do not use supplements for cancer prevention. And basically what they're saying is aim to meet your nutritional needs by diet alone. So for example, don't rely on getting your vitamin C from just high doses of vitamin C. Try to get your vitamin C from eating your fruits and vegetables. And then, okay, that's pretty much all we need here. Again, this one's for those people who are mothers that are at the giving birth or at that age. They recommend, if you can, to breastfeed. There's been evidence that shows that helps reduce cancer. And then again, the recommendation number 10 was after diagnosis for us survivors, that they recommend following these same guidelines if you can. All right, so a few others. So these are recommendations by the American Institute of Lifestyle Medicine for cancer prevention. It's very similar. So nutrition, support the immune system and decrease inflammation, physical activity. Any physical activity that you can get has benefits. Sleep, recharge, and start the day with full power. Here's our avoidance of risky substances again. We're going to go through each of these quickly as well. And then there's having strong positive relationships and then healthy coping strategies. So how do we support the immune system and decrease inflammation? Eat more antioxidant rich foods, fewer pro-inflammatory foods, healthy food preparation. So this is like if you do eat meat to cook it like boiling or steaming, the moist, cooking in that way is healthier. And then increasing fiber, again, that 40 to or more grams per day. So what are antioxidant rich foods? Here's some of them: beta carotene, carrots, sweet potatoes, spinach, kale, lycopene, tomatoes, watermelon, guava, pink grapefruit, resveratrol, those purple ones, the red grapes, the blueberries, peanuts and soy are in that one as well. Selenium is in sunflower seeds, fish, mushrooms. Vitamin C, citrus fruits, cantaloupe, kiwi, mango, berries. Vitamin E, almonds, peanuts, green leafy veggies. These are just some of the ideas. And what are pro-inflammatory foods? Those processed foods, candy bars, cookies, chips, crackers, red meats, sugar sweetened beverages, and then other highly processed foods. So with sleep, here are some ideas on how to recharge and start the day with full power. They recommend at least 7 to 9 hours of sleep. I know that for some of us that are postmenopausal that sleep or in that menopause, and then even with some of our cancer drugs or that we've had, the follow-up ones can really mess with our sleep. But here are some sleep hygiene things that might help. Avoid screen time 90 minutes prior to going to bed. Avoid alcohol 3 hours prior. Again, I would recommend avoiding alcohol altogether if you can. Increase daytime sunlight exposure, and then try to have a consistent sleep and wake schedule, even if it's on the weekends. Avoidance of risky substances. Here we go on this one again. Maximize bodies, which maximizes our ability to recover. And they talk about substances. So tobacco is a big one as well that was not mentioned in the AICR because it's not, I think because it's not nutrition or exercise, but it can interfere with our body's ability to heal. So they the World Health Organization also classifies tobacco as a group 1 carcinogen as well. And so ideas for that are smoking cessation, and then for alcohol use or abuse support if needed. Positive social connections. So there's evidence that having strong positive social connections are important. So I wanted to point out this picture here is actually me and my mom the day that we shaved my head. So it was in between, I think, my first and second chemo or my second and third chemo, I don't remember, but when my hair was really falling out, and we shaved my head, and my mom shaved my head for me, and she insisted that I shave her head. And I was like, no, Mom, I don't want to do that. And she had gone through cancer and chemo like 6 years. She went through chemo, I think, like 6 years before me. And I'm like, well, I didn't shave my head when you were going through it. She's like, I don't care. I want to shave my head. So she insisted that I shave her head that day. And then my husband came home, and we didn't totally shave his, but he got a buzz cut. So and so I just shared that because she was one of my biggest supporters when I was going through my journey. And then support groups. So with this also, for those of you, I would bet that a lot of you that are here have already gone through the Time to Heal Survivorship 101. But if you haven't, I highly recommend it. It is awesome, and the support that you get with your group is just amazing. And a lot of the groups stay in touch afterwards. There's also a metastatic support group. And so I highly recommend that if you have not done that. And then exercise or activity groups can, there's a great way to get support in some of those areas, and then allow family and friends to support you, or also think about how you might be able to support someone else. That can all help with those positive social connections. Stress management, using healthy coping. Some of ideas for healthy activities that reduce stress can be mindfulness training, Tai Chi, yoga, breathing exercises. When stressed, you can stop, relax, observe, and respond. Breathing exercises, some apps that are out there are Headspace, Calm, and there's like a tapping solution app that might be helpful. Some of these I think that some of them might have some free sites and some payable ones. And then where to start. So I know I talked about a whole lot, and if I were just to give you two things, I would say eat more plants and move your body more as much as you can. But I also want to give you this important note. So nutrition and exercise can have a very quick effect on blood pressure and glucose. And so if you I just recommend, especially if you're on blood pressure meds or you're a diabetic on medications, please talk to you. Just let your provider know you're making some healthy changes, and then monitor those very closely. Monitor your glucose and your blood pressure closely, because they can change in a positive way quickly. But if you're on meds, your meds might need to be adjusted. So please just make sure that you monitor those. There was a handout. I know when you signed up, there was a handout, but I have some more resources here. So if you have if you got your phone on you or something, go ahead and take a picture of this QR code. I'll also drop a link in the chat. But these are, did everyone have a chance to catch that you wanted to? I think that's all I got. And then, yep. So love yourself enough to live a healthy lifestyle, because you are worth it. And here's my email if anybody has questions and wants to contact me later. But I want to stop sharing so I can see you and share that link. I'll grab that link here real quick to share it with you. So this link also includes links to recipes. With it, I included, like, there's some healthy, like, because it's the holidays, right? And it's really hard to do some of these healthier behaviors during the holidays. And so I included some like healthy cookie recipe sites, some healthy dips, some side dishes, some main dishes, and actually a few actual recipes in there too. So just some ideas for the holiday season. Questions?
We do have a couple questions in the chat. So kind of going back to the food, what did you mean by increasing time of carcinogens in the gut on whole grains?
That was decreasing the time. So
Decreasing.
basically, yeah. So it's basically like any carcinogens that are in the foods, fiber helps to have things go through our system quicker. So it just helps foods to go through, and it kind of, I want to say, grabs those things and helps it not stay in our gut so long. So if we are eating something and there's always toxins and things that we can't get past. So that fiber just helps to move everything through quicker. Did that help? I hope. Oh, and the question on red meat, is there any difference between grass-fed and grain-fed? That's a really good question. And the American Institute of Cancer Research and the World Health Organization, neither one of them differentiate between that. And then there's also the thing with cooking meat. And I did a little bit of looking up on it. So there's they're called HCAs, which are hydrocyclic amines, and PAHs, which are let's see here. I can never remember what they are pronounced, but they are carcinogens, and they're from meat muscle. And this was from, excuse me, I'm losing my voice, I think, all this talking. This one was from the cancer.gov, and what they say was to avoid direct exposure of meat to any open flame or hot metal surface, and avoid prolonged cooking time. So cooking meat especially at high temperatures, can reduce the formation of the HCAs and the PAHs, which are both carcinogenic. Some recommendations are using a microwave to cook meat prior to exposure to high temperatures. They say can reduce the HCA formation. And continuously turning your meat, if it's on a high heat source, continuously turning it helps to reduce that. And then removing charred portions of meat and refraining from using gravy made from meat drippings are some of the things that they recommend for reducing the HCAs and PAHs if you do eat meat or cook meat. And then also like the boiling, the moist cooking is another good way to help reduce those. Let's see what else. Any other questions? I know it's a lot. I hope that it's empowering, and just to know that there are things that we can do. And again, I guess another point I want to make is it doesn't have to be all or nothing. So I don't want you all to think, oh my God, I have to totally quit, to totally change my diet to a plant-based diet, and I can't eat any of these things. Just know that every step you make in eating one more plant food or one more serving is a step in the right direction. So it doesn't have to be an all or nothing. I do love what Dr. Dean Ornish is another highly reputable person and leader in the field of lifestyle medicine, and he uses the saying of the ounce of prevention and a pound of cure. We've all heard that. And what he says is, so if you're apparently healthy and you just want to take steps in staying healthy or being healthier, that ounce or those little tiny steps are good. If you've got a chronic condition or something that you want to try to reverse, then you need to go more in with that pound, and the bigger changes. But again, any step in the direction of eating more plants, moving your body, stressing less, so social connections, every little step is a step in the right direction. Your questions. I saw we had more people join during, so thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm
Thank
gonna
you.
sign out.
I think I appreciate you making a statement about, not to blame ourselves because, if lifestyle that, sometimes we don't know. I mean, at least I did not know, those things contributing to this. Uh, so it's now because we know better, then we can choose to change the lifestyle. And I think we have, it just seemed like we don't really have too much choice, huh? Why did we get cancer and all that? But in little ways that at least, we can have some control, huh? To contributing to our own health. And then I think it's a hopeful. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. And that's exactly where I was hoping that people would get out of it. Is, I know if you're like me, it's kind of like there's so much that's out of our control, but what can I do? Like, what can I do to feel like I'm reducing my risks of recurrence or getting another cancer? So This is one of the reasons why I like this wellness field. And when I got introduced to lifestyle medicine, I loved it because I'm like, oh, these are things that we can control.
Mhm. If we want to, that is, right?
Yeah, exactly. If we want, and
Yes.
that's our choice,
Yeah.
everybody has that choice. And again, yeah, my goal is just to educate people because like you said, we don't know. Most
Yeah.
people don't know.
Yeah. It's so much, it's like even those meat, what do they call that? Lunch meat stuff, so handy and so available. And it's you just eat it, you do it. But
Yeah,
and I like all those some of the food that it's not that helpful for myself.
I do too. I do
Right,
too.
so that there's some temptations that we go through and then still have to make a choice, isn't it?
Yes, I do too. And I can tell you though that the more that we eat, because I used to hate fruits and vegetables and beans. Ew, I never ever ate beans. Now I eat beans all the time. And your taste buds do change. The more that you eat them, then you actually start to crave them. And yeah, if someone would have told me 20 years ago that I'd be eating a lot of vegetables and beans, I'd be like, ugh. Soil contaminants that plants are growing. Oh, so that is, Christine, yes, very good point about contaminants and pesticides. And there are, one of the good resources is the EWG, I think it's called the Environmental Working Group. So EWG.org, and they each year put out their Dirty Dozen and Clean 15 list, which are the Dirty Dozen are the dozen, the highest fruits and vegetables that have the most toxins or chemicals. And then those they recommend trying to do organic if you can for those. And then the Clean 15 are the ones that they say are usually safer to eat, whether they're organic or not. But the other thing too that like all of the lifestyle medicine professionals will say is it's also because there is a cost with organic as well, but even just getting those fruits and vegetables in however you can. And also it doesn't always have to be fresh. So frozen fruits and vegetables are very nutritious. In fact, sometimes more nutritious because they pick them at their ripeness and freeze them at their ripeness. So those nutrients are in there, where sometimes our fresh fruits and vegetables, they're growing in some time, other states, they have lots of travel time. How long have they sat in the store? So frozen's good, canned is fine if you need to, do canned. So it doesn't have to be expensive either. Anything else?
Another thing I think I appreciate you saying is that it doesn't have to, it doesn't have to be all or nothing kind of thing. Little bit we can do change, like it reminds me of baby steps, if I can succeed in doing one thing for positive way, it's a good thing. So I do appreciate that, what you said.
Yes, absolutely. Every step is a step in the right direction.
Mhm.
I
Was this
came in a little bit
beneficial? Oh, go
later.
ahead.
I'm sorry, I came in a little
Done.
bit later and I was just wondering, so this will be videoed and we can see it another time if we want to?
Yes, this session is recorded and it will be available on our website early next week.
Okay, thank you.
And I think the slides were included too, just a PDF of the slides in when you registered as one of the handouts. I did add the QR code in the extra resources though last night, so that those weren't included. And I did make a little update to the handout because there were a couple with one of the handouts. And I could, do you want me to show those, the handout, Emily?
Yes, because those were not included
Okay.
in the registration, so
Okay,
we
there
have
was
those
supposed to be,
available.
I thought there was one of them that was included. Okay, let me pull them up here real quick. Oops. Let me get everything pulled up here real quick before I share my screen. And again, I apologize for the upfront okay. Okay, so here's one of the resources that I shared. And it has guideline or just some different challenges or apps, a few apps here, things like the American Institute of Cancer Research. They do a Healthy 10 challenge, which is available. You can do it at any times. And so that was one of the main resources that I use is American Institute of Cancer Research. And this challenge is on nutrition and exercise. Some of my favorite recipe sites so you can find a ton of free recipes out there. And some of the ones that I put on the other handout, actually a lot of them came from this Shane and Simple down here. And there were a few there from Chef AJ as well. But I also really like this T. Con Campbell Center for Nutrition Studies. There's some great recipes. That's one of my favorites too. Dr. Christy Funk, she was the breast surgeon for Angelina Jolie and Sheryl Crow, and she has some like an antioxidant smoothie recipe out there, and she's got some recipes. This is her site as well, the Pink Lotus. She got recipes out there as well. Physician, all of these are great resources, but that link that I gave you, it will take you to a folder that's got this handout in it and then another one with recipes. These are some of my favorite cookbooks. This Be a Plant-Based Woman Warrior is one of my favorites, especially they have some great desserts in there. In fact, I just made last night their ginger snap cookies. They're delicious. I love them. And that's by Jane and Ann Esselstyn. And Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn is one of the leaders in lifestyle medicine. He was one of the first people to prove that some heart disease can be reversed with lifestyle. These are some of my favorite books. Breast Cancer Survivors, this Breast, the Owner's Manual. Well, it's actually good for any woman, but again, that's Dr. Christy Funk, great book. And here's some websites, some apps, some podcasts. And then the other handout, this is just a handout for the Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine that I put in there. And then this is the other one that I was telling you that I added. So this is the one with recipes. There's different cookie recipes in here. This is the one for the ginger snaps that I made last night. It goes to a video where they have a video YouTube channel, Jane and Ann Esselstyn, and they do recipe cooking demos all the time. Some different hot chocolate, eggnog, some mocktails, some hors d'oeuvre recipes in here, some main dish recipe ideas, a couple actual recipes. I like to make this healthy, I call it chocolate dip, but it was really like a chocolate hummus, but you can use it like pudding or dip. And same thing with the pumpkin's basically the same one. You just add pumpkin, 100% pure pumpkin to it. Energy balls or bites. There's tons of different recipes out there for those. This black bean dip is virtually just a can of black beans and salsa. And if you want to add cumin, you can, but you don't have to. So those are just some of the things that I wanted to share with you, and so that you can say, gosh, Jeannie, it's the holiday time. What can I do? All right, other questions, comments? Emily, did you have any other time to heal announcements?
Nope, nope. But definitely want to thank you again for providing this for us today.
Absolutely. Thank you all for coming, and I wish everybody happy holidays. Happy, healthy holidays.